Sophia and Ariel, I see them, that's the one ray of light.
Sophia.
I'm here to promote it. Hope it's a sold-out show, but I don't want anyone's expectations to be too high as to what my performance will be. Oh, no. No, my managers told me that I can't do that until the night of the performance.
I put one of my students on top of the toilet dispenser. I just knew we had to get in there. I was just telling them it's going to be okay.
We'll just take the lead from them, and we will not go down that road, but we'll let them guide us.
Facing his boots were facing my desk.
And then he turned and walked away?
And then turned, it was seconds, and then turned and walked out, and I heard the door close.
You can control the situation depending on your photographer, and I have very good photographers. No, I don't.
How young?
Sorry, I don't.
How young was?
None of it makes any sense. But knowing Vicky the way.
You have 4 kids? Really? I just can't believe it. You look so good. That is what my daughter's kindergarten teacher said to me.
I could not fathom this. I could not imagine what they were talking about. I did not correct them or ask them any questions. I let them keep talking, and they kept talking.
The killer's face, the name, everything. I see through it right now.
Come to the microphone so we'll listen in. Okay.
Earlier today, a tragedy of unspeakable terms played itself out in this community. Lieutenant Governor and I have been spoken to in an attempt that we might be prepared for something like this playing itself out in our state. Spoken to in an attempt that we might be prepared for something like this playing itself out in our state.
Got this going.
It's Reggie.
Going to the left hand. Newtown's reporting. 1 suspect down. The building has not been cleared. D5. Be advised, you should have multiple weapons.
Yes, I can hear you.
Long rifles and shotgun.
Can you hear me? Right now we're seeing lots of cars in the parking lot, lots of emergency vehicles, emergency personnel. We do see one car over here that's kind of cordoned off. This is on the corner of the school. Not sure what that's all about, but I'm sure this most likely has to do with this shooting. What I've been looking around for, trying to see if I can see any of the children outside, maybe from them where they were evacuated, but I don't see them. I'm sure they have them inside safe someplace. But a lot of personnel out here with weapons, fire department, just a chaotic scene right now.
Stand by units in front of the school. We'll conduct a search. Unit proceeding to the scene.
That is correct. I have not seen any children right now. My belief would be that they have them somewhere safe inside. And I mean, it is cold out here, so they're probably just to keep them safe and away from the building.
And then right after that, you actually lock yourselves in.
Then we raced into my supply closet and pulled the door closed.
And you were there for the next 4 hours?
Nearly, yeah. It was 1:15.
The staging area for the emergency services and victims of the Sandy Hook shooting was set up at the local firehouse, which is located less than half a kilometer away from the school. By reviewing aerial footage and images of the scene, we can see that there were hardly any emergency vehicles located at the school itself. Instead, the ambulances and emergency services, including the media, were assembled at the firehouse on Riverside Road. During an emergency situation, especially one of this magnitude, it would make sense to have the ambulances near the location where the injured parties can be removed and brought to a hospital quickly. However, in this instance, the vehicles were located at a location that was considerable distance from the crime. What makes this even more curious is that if we take a closer look at the staging area at the firehouse, we can clearly see that all of the necessary emergency vehicles were boxed in and unable to leave the staging area. This would mean that any injured parties, survivors, or victims would need to be taken out of the school all the way to the firehouse. If someone suffered a serious life-threatening injury, there is a high possibility that they could die during the time it would take to transport them to the nearest ambulance or medical team. According to the official story being promoted by the media and authorities, there was only 2 injuries sustained from the attack, and both injured parties were teachers at the school. The first with injuries was the lead teacher at the school, 40-year-old Natalie Hammond, who was shot in the arm and leg while she had her back against the door, trying to keep it closed to keep the gunman from entering. The shooter shot through the door, apparently, which is how she received her injuries. The second wounded in the attack has for some reason remained unnamed, as this unidentified adult perhaps does not want to have their identity revealed. Upon further analysis of the police audio recording, we hear an officer reporting that he has a victim with a foot injury and that he is taking her to the hospital. This can only mean that this person with the foot injury, also a minor wound, must be the unidentified adult. Why they wish to remain unknown to the public is a curious factor and may have some significance to the case.
Roger. Good. Alright, just received a call. We have one now in room 1 who has received a wound to the foot. Thank you. On other injuries. I advise for ambulance staging.
It would seem that anyone who may have witnessed the suspect was killed in the 2 classrooms that were attacked, with the exception of the little girl who escaped the event by pretending to be dead. All other people in the 2 classrooms were killed. On the police audio, we hear an officer state that he had received a confirmation that bodies would be taken to Griffin Hospital, and then we get notification from Griffin Hospital that they have received no notification whatsoever. It is as if nobody was actually brought to a hospital at all, aside from the confirmation of receiving the unidentified foot wound victim earlier in the recording.
Alright, confirm with Troop A what hospitals in our area that we could secure. I think he had that information wrong.
Yeah, Roger, Sergeant Stratton got off the phone with Papper, and he said that they're using Griffin. And just confirmed that he was standing behind me. Is 1089 available to go on Route 8 and take a post for this purple van?
Yeah, I'll continue to Griffin. I'll send some takes for that Griffin. We'll figure it out. And 1089 stay a post for that vehicle.
For the Major, I'm en route to Griffin Hospital.
48, Roger.
There is no confirmation that any victims are coming down here. None. So we need to figure out what hospitals they're going to.
In this video, we see a victim being taken to an ambulance at the firehouse. Strangely, there is only one paramedic transporting the stretcher, which is not the way paramedics are trained to transport the wounded. There should always be 2 paramedics transporting, but this is a minor observation compared to how important this video clip is overall. This is the only known video footage of a victim from Sandy Hook, and since we know that the unnamed victim with the wounded foot was taken to the hospital by a police officer, this can only mean that the person on this stretcher is actually Natalie Hammond. If this is indeed Natalie Hammond, then why does there appear to be no injury to her arms? A Official reports claim that she was shot in the arm and the leg, yet we do not see any blood or bandages whatsoever on this person. Perhaps most important to note is that Natalie Hammond is 40 years old, and the woman on this stretcher is much older than 40 years of age. This victim on the stretcher is not Natalie Hammond, and I have spent several days searching for a photograph or an image of Natalie Hammond and was not able to find a single picture. On the Sandy Hook website, it says that she lives with her husband and daughter Kayla in nearby Southbury, and it seems that there is no social profiles or even graduation portraits from the university and colleges she attended. It would almost seem that Natalie Hammond does not exist whatsoever. This piece of evidence alone proves that we have been lied to by government officials as to what really happened at Sandy Hook Elementary School and is worth much further investigation.
The state police have been managing the dissemination of information from the school there. We have received some additional information, but at this point in time, I'm not in a position to disclose that.
Do you have any information on the fact that more than 24 people were shot and killed at the school?
I can't verify that information.
And that 14 were children?
I cannot verify that information. I'm going to again refer you to the state police who have taken charge of the situation there, given the gravity and the impact on that community.
When Adam's brother was arrested as a suspect of the crime, the media reported that he was likely arrested because Adam had his brother's identification on him. However, Ryan has stated that he had not seen his brother in a few years prior. The school nurse, Sally Cox, claimed in the following interview that she knew Nancy Lanza and Adam, and that Nancy worked at the school, information which was later found to be untrue. Sally also originally claimed that she was face-to-face with the shooter and made eye contact, yet later claimed that she hid under her desk and saw the killer's feet enter the office and then leave. Why would such a vital witness be telling us conflicting stories?
The mother of the shooter in this case, the mother of the shooter is also dead. She is a teacher at the school. So dead, she is a teacher at the school.
And state police also confirming today that neither Lanza or his mother had any connection to that school.
And I want to ask you something that Pete Williams reported first on Saturday. He said there had been some kind of an altercation at Sandy Hook Elementary School the day before the shootings, and that it was believed Adam Lanza might have been involved in that altercation with up to 4 teachers or administrators. Can you shed any light on that?
That's been spoken about a great deal during the number of press conferences that we've had, and we've been able to look at that and find out that there was no report of any altercation involving the shooter, the suspect, if you will, at all at that facility.
E5, be advised, we should have multiple weapons, including long rifles and shotguns. A2 is proceeding to the scene on the request of the police department.
Consent. Some type of long gun has just been found in the last half hour in the trunk of the black vehicle that's been currently taped off outside of Sandy Hook Elementary School.
We were able to confirm, NBC News earlier, that the suspect had driven to the school in his mother's vehicle. That vehicle that we've seen has been cordoned off all day, and now we see that gun pulled out of the trunk there. 2 other guns were found in the school next to near the shooter, who is also dead.
But you said it was the long rifle that was used?
Yes.
I thought the long rifle was discovered in the car. That's not correct.
Not correct, sir.
Never before has there been as much confusion in regards to a news story, and this is because several mainstream media outlets published misinformation in their initial reports during the first few days of the investigation. This has in turn led to confusion amongst the public and those interested in learning the details of the event. The misinformation that was released was so abundant that a vast amount of people do not know what to believe in regards to the shooting, and the truth of what really happened has remained shrouded in mystery and elusiveness. The authorities have claimed that anyone caught posting misinformation in relation to this case will be investigated and prosecuted. However, none is more guilty of this than the sources of mainstream media reporting on the events in Newtown.